Welcome to the G-Sharp Security Podcast, Episode 2. I am your host, Jill, and we have a really fascinating mission ahead of us today.
And I'm Zach, your resident expert for today's analysis.
Before we jump in, a very quick shout out to Mike in the control room. Thank you so much for your help today, Mike.
Yeah, thanks, Mike. We literally could not do this show without you.
So true. Okay, so today we are looking at an incredibly insightful piece of writing by Guy Albertini.
Right, he is the CEO and founder of G-Sharp Security.
Exactly. And, you can actually find this full text posted right now on the blog page at gsharpsecurity.com. The piece is titled The Silent Killers: How Data Sprawl Mirrors High Blood Pressure.
It is such a great title.
It really is. And to give you an overall summary of what we are doing here today, we are going to explore the striking parallels between human physical health and organizational data health. Ultimately, our goal is to extract the proactive strategies outlined in this article to help you mitigate these massive hidden risks in your own system.
Yeah, because the central analogy here is just so unexpected but so accurate.
It is. The idea is that, just as high blood pressure is a silent killer that progresses without any symptoms until a major health event occurs, data sprawl secretly weakens an organization until a catastrophic data breach happens.
And that analogy is exactly why this piece is so important for you as a listener to understand. I mean, in cybersecurity, we talk about abstract concepts all the time, right? Networks, cloud environments, complex data architecture.
Oh, absolutely. It can get very dry.
Right. And it is very easy for those concepts to feel distant or purely theoretical. But by comparing data sprawl to high blood pressure, Guy Albertini transforms these abstract digital threats into highly relatable, urgent physical realities.
Because everyone knows someone affected by blood pressure issues.
Exactly. You understand immediately how dangerous it is to ignore a silent physical condition. This analysis forces us to apply that exact same urgency to our digital ecosystems.
Okay, let's unpack this. The core premise starts by grounding us in the medical definition of the biological threat. So, high blood pressure, or hypertension, is defined as a chronic condition where the force of blood against your arterial walls is consistently too high. And left unmanaged, it leads to devastating health issues like heart attacks, strokes, kidney disease, vision loss. But the real danger, the reason it gets that silent killer moniker, is its asymptomatic nature.
It's completely hidden.
Yeah, a person can feel absolutely fine for years, completely unaware that the condition is progressively damaging their cardiovascular system from the inside out.
And if we mirror that biological reality with a digital threat, we arrive at the definition of data sprawl. Data sprawl refers to the uncontrolled proliferation of an organization's data across various systems, applications, and storage locations.
It's just everywhere.
It is the exact same insidious progression. The data just keeps expanding, building up pressure, completely uncontrolled and entirely out of sight.
But where exactly is all this pressure building up? Because, it is not just sitting in one centralized, easily monitored database.
I wish it were. That would make our job so much easier.
Ha, right.
According to the text, it is happening on premises in legacy servers. It is happening across multi-cloud environments. It is living in shadow IT.
Oh, Shadow IT is the worst offender.
Yes, those unauthorized instances that teams spin up to bypass slow procurement processes. It is hidden in unmanaged software as a service applications, and it exists as redundant or outdated copies of information scattered across the entire network.
Exactly. The proliferation is decentralized by nature, which is what makes it so difficult to manage. And what are the symptoms of all this data sitting around in shadow IT environments?
Usually there are none.
None at all?
Just like feeling perfectly fine while living with hypertension, organizations feel completely fine with their massive data sprawl. Everything seems to be operating normally right up until a critical event occurs.
Let me play devil's advocate for a second, though. We constantly hear that data is the new oil, right? We are told that massive datasets are required to train AI models and gain business intelligence. So, Why is keeping everything suddenly a bad thing? Isn't holding onto this data a competitive advantage?
That is the exact trap most organizations fall into. It is true that structured, actionable data is an asset, but sprawl is not structured. Sprawl is uncontrolled, unclassified, and unmonitored.
It's just noise.
Exactly. If we connect this to the bigger picture, keeping everything unchecked actually creates substantial real-world risks. First, it directly leads to an exponentially expanded attack surface.
Because there's more to hit.
Right. Every forgotten database or unmanaged application is another potential entry point for a threat actor. Second, it creates absolute nightmares for maintaining regulatory compliance. If you don't know what sensitive user data you possess, you cannot possibly comply with privacy frameworks.
That makes a lot of sense.
And finally, it drives up operational costs significantly. You are paying for the storage, the compute, and the management of a mountain of data that provides absolutely zero business value.
Right. You feel totally fine, and you think you are just building up a valuable reservoir until the metaphorical heart attack hits. In the digital world, that critical event is usually a devastating data breach or a massive compliance violation that suddenly exposes the full detrimental impact of the sprawl.
A very expensive wake-up call.
Very expensive, so we have a clear diagnosis of the problem. The real question is, how do we treat it? The strategies outlined in the article bear a remarkable resemblance to how we manage human health. The first parallel is regular monitoring and visibility.
Crucial step.
In medicine, regular blood pressure checks are absolutely crucial for early detection. In the digital landscape, continuous monitoring and gaining comprehensive visibility into an organization's data landscape are paramount.
I want you to think about your own organization's data architecture for a second. Do you actually know where all of it resides across your entire infrastructure? Do you know exactly who has access to it right this second and how it is actively being used?
That is a scary thought for most IT admins.
It really is. For most large organizations, the honest answer is no. The diagnostic phase relies heavily on deploying tools that provide a unified view of your data across all your disparate environments. You simply cannot treat a condition if you cannot see the vital signs. You need that single pane of glass to understand the baseline health of the network.
Here is where it gets really interesting. The second parallel drawn is about lifestyle adjustments. In human health, adopting a healthy lifestyle, like a good diet and regular exercise, is fundamental to controlling high blood pressure. You have to actively change how you operate on a daily basis,
It's not a one-time thing.
right? The digital equivalent of that healthy lifestyle is establishing robust data governance policies. It is essentially putting your organization on a data diet.
That data diet is critical, but it is notoriously difficult to implement because it requires a massive cultural shift. It means fighting the digital hoarding mentality we just talked about.
What does that actually look like in practice?
The text details exactly what these lifestyle adjustments look like. First, it means defining clear data retention policies, knowing exactly when to finally purge information. Second, implementing rigid data classification schemes. You need to know if a specific asset is public, internal, highly confidential, or restricted.
You have to label the food in the pantry.
Precisely. And third, enforcing strict access controls. These governance practices ensure that your information is stored appropriately, securely, and crucially, only for as long as it is absolutely necessary. It is actively trimming the fat from your digital ecosystem so the system does not have to work as hard to protect it.
But let's be realistic. Sometimes a good diet and exercise just are not enough to get those blood pressure numbers down to a safe level. Genetic factors or long-term damage might mean that lifestyle changes are insufficient.
Unfortunately, yes.
In those cases, a medical professional is going to prescribe medication. It becomes a necessary active intervention. In the context of our digital silent killer, the medication is targeted security controls.
Let's break down those technical interventions because we are looking at a highly specific digital pharmacy here. The first prescription is DLP, or Data Loss Prevention Solutions.
I've heard of that.
Yeah, these are specifically designed to monitor and prevent sensitive information from leaving controlled environments. Think of DLP like a medication that strengthens your arterial walls so nothing leaks out into the surrounding tissue. If a user tries to exfiltrate a classified database to an external drive, the DLP solution actively blocks that action.
And it is not just about building a wall around the perimeter, right? Because data does not just sit still. It moves, it gets processed, it gets stored.
Exactly, which is why you need appropriate controls for data in its three distinct states, DAR, DIU, and DIM.
Let's define those for the listener.
That is data at rest, data in use, and data in motion. You have to protect the data wherever it is and whatever it is doing. For data at rest, sitting on a server, you are looking at robust encryption so that even if the physical drive is compromised, the data is unreadable.
Okay, that makes sense.
For data in motion, moving across the network, you need secure transfer protocols. And data in use, which is often the trickiest, involves protecting data while it is actively being processed in computer memory. You need overlapping layers of defense because threat actors will target the data at its most vulnerable state.
You cannot just protect the data when it is locked in the vault. You have to protect it when the armored car is driving down the street. And that leads directly into who gets the keys to the armored car, which brings us to IAM, Identity and Access Management.
IAM is the cornerstone of this treatment plan. These systems enforce the principle of least privilege. In an environment suffering from data sprawl, access permissions usually sprawl right alongside the data.
Oh, definitely. People change departments and keep their old permissions.
All the time. You have users with administrative rights to databases they haven't touched in 5 years. IAM systems strip that back, ensuring users only have access to the exact data they need to perform their specific job functions and absolutely nothing more. It drastically reduces the blast radius if an individual account gets compromised.
Those are some incredibly powerful prescriptions. But the medical field also uses specialized devices to track and treat complex heart conditions. We are talking about continuous heart monitors, or pacemakers, that actively intervene the moment an anomaly is detected.
What's fascinating here is how seamlessly this aligns with continuous digital monitoring technology. In the cybersecurity world, these sophisticated diagnostic and treatment systems are EDR, MDR, and XDR.
Which stand for,
Endpoint managed and extended detection and response. Traditional antivirus was passive. It basically waited for a known bad file to show up. These modern systems are behavioral. They are continuously monitoring your endpoints, your networks, and your cloud environments for any signs of anomalous activity.
so it's looking for strange patterns, not just known viruses?
Exactly. Just like a specialized medical device that monitors vital signs and administers immediate, targeted electrical impulses when an arrhythmia is detected, these response systems enable rapid, automated incident response the exact second a digital threat behavior is found.
So we have got the diet, the medication, the monitoring devices. But what about the environment itself? Because physical health isn't just internal. A person's physical environment, their external stress levels, their exposure to toxins, their daily surroundings, significantly impacts their blood pressure.
It's a huge factor.
An organization also has an environment, which in this analogy is its external attack surface. It is all the internet-facing assets that an attacker could potentially observe and exploit from the outside.
This is where EASM comes into play, external attack surface management. In a large enterprise, it is incredibly common for a marketing team to spin up a web server for a temporary campaign and then completely forget to tear it down when the campaign ends.
Out of sight, out of mind.
Right. That forgotten server sits there, unpatched, exposed to the public internet. EASM involves the continuous discovery, monitoring, and analysis of all these internet-facing assets. The primary goal is to identify and mitigate those vulnerabilities before they can be exploited by a bad actor.
It's like checking the air quality in your home.
Yes, it is exactly like understanding and actively managing the environmental stress factors that contribute to high blood pressure. By managing that external attack surface, you are ensuring a much healthier overall digital posture.
I love that parallel, and it leads perfectly into the next phase of treatment. Before a doctor clears a patient for intense physical activity, especially if they have a history of cardiovascular issues, they will put them on a treadmill for a stress test.
Get the heart rate up.
Exactly. They need to evaluate exactly how the heart functions under actual exertion. They do not just want to know how it looks at rest. The source material compares this medical stress test to penetration testing in cybersecurity.
This raises an important question. How do you know your security controls actually work unless you push them to the breaking point? Regular penetration tests are designed specifically to simulate real-world cyber attacks.
You have to act like the bad guy to find the holes.
The goal is to identify exploitable vulnerabilities within an organization's system, paying special attention to the unique weaknesses that are exacerbated by having massive data sprawl. This is a highly proactive approach. You are intentionally stressing the system in a controlled, authorized manner to uncover those critical weaknesses. You want your own ethical hackers to find the back door in that forgotten marketing server before a malicious actor exploits it in the wild.
So, what does this all mean for you and your organization? We know the symptoms, the diagnosis, the lifestyle changes, and the medical interventions. The final section lays out the ultimate treatment plan, and it emphasizes that navigating the sheer complexities of data sprawl requires specialized expertise and strategic leadership.
You wouldn't attempt to perform open heart surgery on yourself.
Ha, definitely no.
You would rely on a team of medical professionals. The same applies to enterprise data architecture.
Exactly. Fixing years of accumulated technical debt and data sprawl is not a side project for the IT help desk. The text outlines several specific strategic mitigation measures that organizational leadership must prioritize. First are comprehensive risk assessments.
The checkup.
Think of this as your thorough medical checkup for your information assets. Leadership needs to identify what data is genuinely critical to business operations and where the most significant vulnerabilities lie. You have to triage the risk. And the second measure is audit remediation, which honestly sounds like one of the most difficult parts of this entire process.
It absolutely is. Audit remediation means ensuring your written security policies are actually aligned with your physical and cloud IT infrastructure. Organizations often have fantastic security policies on paper, but when audited, they discover that their actual network architecture violates half of those policies.
The reality doesn't match the blueprint.
Right. Remediation is the painful, necessary work of bridging the gap between theory and reality to safeguard data confidentiality and integrity. The third measure focuses heavily on the human element, security awareness, education, and training. We can build the best arterial walls in the world with DLP and encryption, but if a user willingly hands over the keys, the system still fails.
It is a massive vulnerability.
The text explicitly points out that human error accounts for a significant percentage of successful data breaches. Whether it is falling for a sophisticated phishing campaign or accidentally misconfiguring an AWS storage bucket to be publicly readable, humans are often the weakest link.
We make mistakes.
We do. Educating your employees empowers them to become the very first line of defense against those errors. Following that is the strict enforcement of data minimization. This ties perfectly back into our data diet analysis, adopting the operational principle of collecting and retaining only the data that is strictly necessary for current business functions.
And finally, leadership needs to implement automated data discovery and classification. You mentioned earlier how difficult it is to manually track down shadow IT. At an enterprise scale, manual classification is virtually impossible.
It is impossible, which is why leadership must leverage automated tools that continuously scan the environment to classify data and reduce the attack surface. Relying on manual labor for data discovery in a multi-cloud environment is a losing battle. You need automation to maintain that continuous visibility we talked about earlier.
And navigating all of these strategic measures requires a serious level of expertise. The text points out that for organizations seeking to address and manage this data sprawl proactively, Expert assistance is readily available. G-Sharp Security, founded by the article's author, Guy Albertini, actually offers comprehensive cybersecurity consulting services.
which is incredibly helpful.
It is. These services are specifically designed to help businesses navigate these exact architectural and governance challenges we have been breaking down today. They provide the strategic leadership, the risk assessments, and the practical, actionable solutions needed to lock down and secure those critical digital assets across the entire enterprise.
Before we wrap up our analysis of this framework, I do need to jump in with a very quick but highly important disclaimer directly from the source material.
Oh, please do.
Please note that this discussion uses health conditions for illustrative cybersecurity purposes only. The information provided regarding high blood pressure is for general knowledge and informational purposes only and does not constitute actual medical advice. Always seek the advice of a qualified healthcare professional for any questions you may have regarding a medical condition or treatment.
Absolutely. We are here to talk about treating your data pipelines, not your actual arteries. Please leave the biology to your primary care physician.
Ha, well said.
To sum up the concluding thoughts from Guy Albertini's insightful piece, both high blood pressure and data sprawl are truly formidable adversaries. They operate silently in the background, compounding over time, and they have the potential to cause immense catastrophic damage before their presence is fully realized by the victim.
It's a sobering thought.
It is. However, the good news is that this damage is not inevitable. With proactive monitoring, highly disciplined data management, and expert technical intervention, these risks can be effectively mitigated. Just as individuals must take charge of their physical health through lifestyle changes and medical care, organizations must take decisive strategic action to maintain the health and security of their digital ecosystems.
You really have to take control.
You do. You have to ensure that these silent killers do not claim your organization as their next victim. If you found this analysis valuable and you want to keep exploring these crucial security concepts with us, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. We would love to have you back for more.
And I want to leave you with a final, slightly provocative thought to mull over on your own time. If data truly is the lifeblood of a modern organization, at what point does collecting everything just in case transition from being a competitive asset to becoming a toxic liability that your current digital heart simply cannot pump?
Oh, wow. That is a fantastic question to end on. It really forces you to reevaluate the true cost of digital hoarding. Thank you so much for joining us for this discussion. Until next time, stay safe, stay secure, and keep a very close eye on that data sprawl.